What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Sunday, April 6th, and we're here to discuss RIFC's first win of the 2025 USL Championship campaign as the Tide uproot Oakland 3-0 at the Coliseum. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel. About 22% of you are not subscribed, according to Ryan's analytics, so let's convert those numbers. Hit that subscribe button, and all of you that are here with us, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to like the video. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find our podcast. One last plug, if you're not already, go check out the RIFC Club Collector app. Our good friend Craig is doing great work getting new players in like that. It's awesome. And then enter the code, all lowercase, Tide Talk 25, all one word, to get an exclusive pack added to your collection today. So cozy up, Greg Bear. Whoa, big spray. Let's dive into this one. I'm your host, Matt. I got foam everywhere over here, Ryan. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I had a clean crack, so it's always a good start to the show that way.
I did not. And I got this weird new camera that's super zoomed in on my face, and it's fixed, so I can't get out of it. But hopefully for next episode, we'll see a change there. How was your Sunday?
It was lovely. Hey, it's always nicer after a nice win for the Tide. So, yeah, can't complain there. How was yours?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We showed up for Zach's 9 a.m. soccer game for the opponent not to show up. That was very fun to, get up and go from there. Then we hit the trampoline park, so my knees are feeling it today.
Yeah, we just had very different Sundays, but I think yours might have been more fun, though.
Might have been. I knocked some kids at dodgeball, so that was always good. But we'll start out with this match and talk about the Guild. You got there for halftime. I got there early. It was very cool that the Reds food truck was there. Always a fan favorite. One of my favorites from pre-COVID, back to the Carousel Village Food Truck Friday days. Really good, really big cheesesteak, $12. Can't beat it. But overall, pretty good crowd at the Guild. I know you just had FOMO, so decided to Uber in at halftime and catch the end of the match.
Yeah, no, I just, the team scores 3 goals after barely scoring the first couple. It sounded like everyone was having a great time, so I probably wouldn't have been able to get there right to start the game, but yeah, had to get in there at halftime, and yeah, had fun. Always great seeing everybody. And yeah, the food did look good. I didn't have any, but we'll definitely have to try Reds next time.
Absolutely. You can probably blame Ryan for the team not scoring in the second half, because once he got to the Guild, the tide did change a little bit.
I quite frankly, I'm considering is there like some A/B testing I need to keep doing here? Because I was trying to change my hat sometimes, trying to change my jersey. There's a lot of things I'm trying to tweak before we were getting our win, and that might have been it. So
I usually wear an RFC hoodie to school on Friday, and I did not this week. I'm going to equate that to it, and I'll keep that trend up and going.
Oh, big breaking news in the chat.
What's that?
Big breaking news in the chat.
From
Matt Jean.
Oh, cool. Matt Jean says Reds will be there again next watch party. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Vice Presidente. That's the news we want to hear rolling in here. You heard it first here on Tide Talk. Thanks, Matt Jean, for breaking it. While we have a good and active chat, just want to remind everyone that typically the Wednesdays before each match, we drop an away end episode. Be sure to check those out. They're just full of really good insight from an opposing podcaster or supporters group members. So all good stuff.
Yeah, you actually get to hear from people who actually know what they're talking about versus the two of us. So it's nice. Nice change of pace.
Right. Like we had John, who studies the Roots team. Like he is a journalist, so it is his job. So not just the two of us taking hacks at things and going from there. All right, so let's take a look at this one and how things kind of shaped up. A very interesting formation in and out of possession. It was our normal, or a couple changes here and there, but Koke Vegas, Frank Nodarse, Karifa Yao, Stoneman, Fusan, Ibarra, Quizero, Holstad, Maxi, JJ, and Chico. Ryan, what did you make when you saw the lineup? Temu getting dropped, one of the bigger ones, Quizero coming back in. Overall, kind of, I think, what we would have hoped for as far as maybe playing our best 11.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I know a lot of people said that, and obviously it was kind of like these lineups are always weird because we get just like the list of names. So I think a lot of us, at least I did, thought Noah was going to be playing at that right wing back spot and clearly be tucked into the midfield. But I thought this was particularly interesting with hearing that the players kind of had a little bit of a players only meeting after last game to talk it out. And you could say this is, I don't know if it's our best 11, but it's clearly our most experienced 11. It's our oldest 11. I think they kind of put the adults on the pitch to sort things out, and I think they put in a pretty damn good shift yesterday. So
Yeah, overall pretty solid. Really like seeing it. I think that our midfield really kind of showed through this one, and I'm sure we'll talk a little more about it throughout as we get going. But this was a midfield that the passing looked a lot more concise. It looked like it had a lot more purpose to it. I was actually shocked at the end of the first half that it was a 50-50 possession split. We'll get to those stats in a little bit, but it just looked like the link-up play was there from the back through the midfield and the front. We'll talk about some of the reasons why we think that might have been throughout this one, but overall, like you said, just the adult shift was in there, and these players put in a pretty good shift as well. So when we look at the action and get going, it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of, I think field tilt was very much in our favor early on. We had the ball in there attacking third a lot. JJ missed a free kick that he had an absolute great hit on. One of the best I've seen him take, just absolute scorcher. But we were moving the ball, we were switching the pitch, and things just looked really good in attack. And the caveat to that was Oakland not really able to generate much of an attack. So our defense was kind of left with not as much to do as they have been in the last couple matches.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for the first 30 minutes or so, I thought it was a little bit more even than maybe us dominating. I mean, one big issue with this one at the start was there was just no flow to the game. I wish I had a whistle here because all you kept hearing was the ref's whistle, like over and over, breaking up play, stopping play, and I think he had a huge impact on the game. I saw 41 fouls on the night, 24 in the first half alone, and I wouldn't be shocked if half of that half was like the 10 minutes in because it was just no flow to the game. He called one on the initial kickoff, which I've never seen someone do. But yeah, overall, I while we did have, I think, more of the command of the game, I did actually think they had the better chances the first 30 minutes or so. Again, it wasn't much, but I think it took a little bit for us to get going. But at the same time, Roots really could not generate anything consistently. I think that's one of the big themes from this game. But it took a little bit for us to get going. But at the same time, I think we kind of worked our way into it, obviously, which we'll talk about soon.
Right. You mentioned the fall on the opening kickoff where Karifa just body checks somebody and doesn't let him by. But there was very much, at least in my mind, an early intention to force the ball up the left flank. Off the opening kickoff, it looked like an NFL overload set with like trips left going long for the long ball there. So it very much seemed like we wanted to get the ball into Quezera, maybe have Clay be a late arriver at the edge of the box on the right, and then you got Chico and JJ doing their thing. One other thing early on in this one that I really like to see, it was we were playing very route one over the top to JJ. It directly, obviously, led to one goal, but his hold-up play was very much, shown, and it comes on a goal as well. But, playing those aerial balls to JJ only benefit the players around him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I actually was getting a little nervous because it seemed like they had figured it out for at least a little bit of the game. I don't think JJ was winning those kind of one-on-ones as much as he normally does, but I think a lot of it was because they weren't one-on-ones. He was getting double, if not triple teamed on those long balls, and I was starting to get a little nervous. Like, do we have a plan B for this? So obviously, again, we'll get to the 10-minute blitz here, but I was starting to get a little nervous. I did think there was some interesting stuff, going up that left. We did see that Noah, where you might have thought, number one, I thought he was going to play right wing back. We saw Clay out there. Then you're like, okay, maybe he'll play more of that number 10 role, but he was kind of floating more to that left-hand side. And then out of position was playing basically a left winger. So I do like having Quezera and Noah close together so that they can pair up. We've seen that combination work really, really well in the past. So I thought that was a really nice tweak to the system that kind of made this game. So.
Right. I think it was very tactical to force play up the left there. We had in the chat, Oakland's midfield looked out of sorts from Ewan, out of shape. Jonathan said it in the away end too. He goes, the biggest problem I think we have is if our midfield shows up or not. Clearly they did not in this one. But Tyler also adds that he thinks Oakland looks like a bottom feeder side this season. I could see that. Not much to this team as far as, getting the ball forward, advancing the ball, retaining possession. A tough outing for the Roots. It kind of brought me back when you mentioned the ref in this one. Thinking back to Bryant, I feel like that was a common theme. There was a lot of time wasting. There was a lot of flopping. Obviously, there was Paul Blanchett with his theatrics, but they were really kind of out of it throughout this one. So, good.
No, I was gonna say, like, again, we'll probably get to this over the course of the show, but like for a team that just looked like they didn't really have much to offer anywhere on the pitch, like you start to resort to some really weird tactics to try to at least get a point out of this one. And again, for the first 30 minutes, I think they might have felt pretty comfortable. I don't know how many shots we had, but it wasn't many. And I don't think we had any clear chances. So the breaking up the game, whether it was via them following or us following, like it was working to a point. Obviously, that strategy can only work so long, and you need a ref who's willing to allow it. But again, they just didn't have much else to offer, and I think it's unfortunate. You kind of like desperately have to resort to stuff like that.
Classic USL Championship.
I mean, it unfortunately works in this league. Like I don't know if we talked about the ref a ton so far this season. I've been very proud of us there, but like last year we had many an episode where we talked a lot about the ref, and we all remember our guy Sergey, the star of the show. Cheers to him. But so far I think we've had some pretty decent refs, and I thought last night was just he couldn't get the whistle out of his mouth.
Nope, that's it. Let's start with the 10-minute blitz, as you called it, with Chico getting us started in the 40th minute.
Finding that blend of upgrading opportunities, but also being decisive in what they were looking for in the final third. I mentioned the 25 shots for Oakland being towards the bottom of the USL Championship, but their conversion rate is towards the top.
A good pressure as the ball in! And just like that, Albert Dequa gets his goal, and Rhode Island lead. Another giveaway from Oakland Roots, and they are their own worst enemy.
So first of all, Quizera obviously with the great pressure there and the great press to pick out the pass to Chico to find the back of the net. But you got to give credit on the other side as well with JJ and Noah pressing in, forcing them to go all the way back to the keeper, which reverts it back out to their right side, and then Quizera is able to pick a pocket. Withstand what probably would have been a foul, on that initial pickoff, and then put a great ball into the box for Chico, who poachers poach, and then that's a classic poachers finish.
Yeah, they did have, I would say one thing we did really well on the night. I thought our press looked really good, especially once we got into this groove. There's a lot of times they just could not get out of their own half. If you look in the night, their players with all the top 4 touches for the game are all of their either center backs or fullbacks. So you could tell the ball was just absolutely pinned back that way. Their right back, I don't know what was going on, if he kind of spaced out or thought he had more time, but clearly just takes a really bad touch, gets himself in all sorts of trouble. I mean, Timmy, I don't know if he was trying to Meg Quizera. I think he was just trying to get a touch on the ball just to not let him by.
Whatever it was awkward.
Yeah, but a great cross by Quizera. I mean, I think that's something that we've missed so far. I think we forget how much of a creative hub he was for us last year, especially with those crosses in. Obviously, we saw Al there do a good job with those as well, but good to see him out there. And I think that's the exact kind of cross and the exact kind of placement that you can expect probably the best out of Chico. We've kind of talked about him being like this fox in the box, and that low driven cross is perfect for him just to get his foot on it and get it a touch into the net. So overall, really well worked goal from RIFC, from press to the interception or tackle from Quizera, great ball in, and from Chico. So I would say if Kano was going to design a goal for this team, I think that's the kind of exact type of thing he's looking for.
Right. Like you mentioned, I just really love the pressure that reverted it all the way back to the keeper, really forced the hand, and then their right back just gets caught. I don't even know what you want to call that one.
Yeah, that was ugly. But I mean, at the same time, this goes to show, like, not goes to show, but when they don't have a key or a midfield, and it's hard to kind of play out the back when you have no escape route. It's either just boot it up the field or go through the midfield. And when one of those options is gone, I mean, it makes it a really long day for your team, especially with someone who has shown in the past that they can press really well, like RIFC. So I think that's been one of the things that hasn't been as on display as I think, and you could blame a lot of things. It's early in the season. We're doing a ton of traveling, so that's got to make it harder. But I mean, Ibarra, again, on this interview on Tom Quinlan's show, he did talk about one of the big things in the players meeting was just like, we're not bringing the intensity that got us to the championship game. And I think we saw it on display a lot more last night.
Well said. Want to pull up a comment from you and in the chat. If I recall, the fan base was calling for Quazera's head just a few matches ago. I don't think it was that bad. I think people just kind of thought he's kind of a one-trick pony when you put him on the right, versus I think he's much more dynamic on the left with his ability to press, to take it out wide, to also then cut in. But he's very left-footed, so to stick him on the right, I just think is a disservice for his skill set.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple other good takes. I think Quadros has one here. Like, I think a lot of it was like, and Timmy said it too, like he had that really bad showing in Charleston, and he was off with Rwanda, and then Aldair looked pretty good in Phoenix. So I think it was just a combination of factors, but we also were just looking for scapegoats and for people to blame for us. I don't think starting the season the way a lot of us hoped for. So,
it
again,
was just a talking point.
A talking point, and a team that's clearly trying to figure something out, because we'll talk about it later, but there's still things that need to be tweaked. And I think as we're slotting people kind of all over the place, I mean, Clay's played 4 different positions this season so far, and in 4 games. So I think there's still things to figure out. So getting Quazera back on the left, where we've seen him do well, I think that's a good sign for things to come.
Right on. And a good sign of things to come was 2 minutes later when Mr. Clay Goldstud bagged another banger for RIFC. So let's take a look at that.
Mohamed's playmaking in terms of whether you're playing down the line, where you're playing centrally, where you're playing backwards, and then to read it, to press.
As Fusen swings in a ball, be cushioned down. And a strike from distance stings the hands of McIntosh, and the rebound is in. What a finish from Clay Holstead.
So there's a lot to talk about in this one. Noah whips in a beauty of a ball. JJ holds it up pretty well. He peels it back to Maxi. Maxi rips a freaking rocket, and then Clay cleans it up with a banger. Just a lot of good things happening on this one. Maxi struck that ball unbelievably well. That was just absolutely scorched earth. And then Clay is there, Johnny on the spot, to bury it and double the lead. But overall, just a pretty well-worked goal with a lot of solid pieces that led up to it.
Yeah, and Timmy actually in the chat has one of my takeaways that I didn't notice last night when I was watching it live, but this also starts with a nice tackle by Quazera. He breaks play there. People are going to make fun of me, but what a pass by Noah. Like, left-footed, his weak foot gets bends the corner center back, puts it perfectly between the center back and the keeper so that the keeper can't do anything about it. And then I just while the rest of the pieces do well, JJ does well, gets it to Maxi, perfect shot. It's just like the Roots defense just goes to sleep on the shot. And I think we've actually been we've seen a lot of that from RIFC this season. Someone puts it on, Koke punches it, spills it out, and then our defenders are kind of just caught there flat-footed. Like, if you watch the goal, Clay's just kind of standing there. Like, he really doesn't have much to, and all of a sudden the ball just like comes to him. He's like, oh shit, I probably should, rip this in the net. And then, any goal that goes in off a post is such a better goal. It looks so much cleaner. And like, again, it's just Clay only knows bangers. One of these days, he's just going to just have a normal tap in, and we're all just going to be like, I don't know if we're going to celebrate. It's going to be just weird seeing it from Clay, but
okay.
Yeah. Like, oh, good job, Clay. But yeah, just tremendous technique as always from Clay to kind of put that in the only place really the keeper couldn't get to on that side.
Yep. Yeah. And a great team goal, because like we said, all those pieces that added up to it. I really think we're not far from seeing Maxi get on the scorecards, especially with the rocket like that. Good to see him hit one, and that was from distance too. And the pace he got on it was pretty incredible. So just overall, it's that press really led up to this one, and continued to kind of force the issue versus this Oakland Roots team. Which
it's one of those things, right? If I think we've talked about it a lot, and I think a lot of people agree. Maybe some people don't, but our defense, quite frankly, has not looked great so far this season. And one way to play defense well without your defense is to press really well. And I think we saw a lot of that this week when if the ball's not even getting there, it's not a problem. And recovering in the midfield third so that you can transition on teams, I think it was a key part of our formula to win a lot of games last season, especially at the end. And it's good to see us kind of remembering that it's a special quality this team has.
No, right on. And the special quality kept up just 8 minutes or 5 minutes after that with JJ getting on the scorecard and giving us that final goal of the 3.
Crosses this one in. It's a decent ball, nobody there. And it's cleared away. A direct ball forward. Williams will never score an easier goal than that. Rhode Island punish in transition. JJ Williams flexes. And Rhode Island with a 3-0 lead.
And this is the ruthlessness that Kanu Smith and his side.
So first of all, a very good ball from Clay. JJ holding his run there right at midfield. I think the highlight of this whole thing was the flex and just standing there waiting for the teammates to come join him and celebrate. But a great touch to kind of dink it by the keeper there. As we see Timmy in the chat, quarterback Clay. We've got Jason saying, love JJ celebration. Timmy saying, ice cold Selly. We've got JJ has that lovable arrogance, very well on display. You know how I feel about JJ. I love JJ. He's awesome. He's a beast. But a really good, first touch from him. To get himself free by the keeper. There's a really cool angle of this. I think it ended up on Twitter, maybe Instagram. I think it's on one of the club's posts where it's him on the break, and it's like the classic basketball play where you see this player start celebrating before the shot goes up. It's Noah with his hands out celebrating. So it's a cool kind of view from the back of all of it. But just a really good, all things considered, a really good goal. Holding the line, Clay playing quarterback, and JJ has that, really touch of quality to get past the keeper and find the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, that ball from Clay is just such like a casual, just beautifully puts perfect amount of backspin so it doesn't completely overrun JJ. Just perfect, boots it really quick. And then JJ,
he pegged it right between the two defenders.
Yep, and then I think JJ he deserves a lot of credit. He didn't panic. He gets around the keeper, which I think is a lot harder because the keeper was just trying to take him out straight up, and gets by him. And then, I think someone said, the lovable arrogance that JJ has. I think that's the kind of mentality he had through the end of the season and through the playoffs there. And if he can keep that up all year, I think we genuinely could see someone really going after that kind of golden boot award, because I think he has all the tools there. And if he's averaging, I guess we can talk about it now, 0.86 expected goals and expected assists per 90, which is 7th in the league right now. He's averaging 4 shots per 90 right now, which is 2nd in the league. So if we can keep seeing that output from him and him just keep taking chances and keep, providing either assists or goals, I really think we could see a truly standout campaign from JJ. So more to come here, but another just great goal. And I think that 10-minute stretch there just goes back, if they can keep the intensity from that 10-minute stretch throughout the season, I think we're going to see a lot of great things there, because they were relentless. You saw it at the end, the 2 center backs from Oakland looked so defeated at the end. They just looking at each other. Look, I don't know who they were trying to blame. They were the only two to blame, quite frankly. But they were looking at each other just what the hell, man? And, it's always nice to see a team not kind of settle. They could have easily settled on that 2-0 scoreline going into the half. And I think that's how you bury a team. And that's how you, make it a little easier on yourself in the second half.
Right on. I like to take about JJ going on a potentially big scoring run this season. I think as the midfield kind of sorts itself out and we stop putting square pegs in round holes and, getting players into their spots, service is going to improve, pressing is going to improve, and it's just only going to lead to better chances. And I think JJ very much is going to be the recipient of that. As far as, like you said, with that 10 minutes of real focus and, grit, the commentator said it pretty well. That this is how Kano wants this team to be relentless in play. And if we can see that 10-minute burst, even multiple times in one game, it'll lead to, I think, bursts like this, just with the dynamic scoring talent that we have on this team. So the fact that we didn't see much of that in the second half. As we'll shift gears a bit, it is a little cause for concern. But we'll take a look at first half stats just to kind of put a pin in the first half. It was 50-50 possession split. That kind of surprised me. I thought field tilt was very much in our favor. But the 50%, I barely remember Oakland having the ball. And I guess that's mostly because they didn't do anything with it when they did have it. But we outshot the Roots 7-3, had 5 on target, 1 for them, had 2 big chances to 0. They completed 179 passes at 79%. We completed 175 at 76%. So not very clean in our passing and kind of stringing things together, although it did look a lot more route one and a lot more direct, than we kind of have seen. The Roots committed 14 fouls. We committed 10, so 24 fouls for your boy, the ref, stealing the show there. 2 corners for Oakland, 0 for RAFC. So overall, as far as the first half comes out, I would say that's about exactly what we can hope for.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to complain with a 3-0 halftime stance, especially on the road. One thing like we just can't lose sight of with this team right now is they are traveling a lot. They've gone 2 basically West Coast trips so far this season. They've been all over the place. So, hopefully, we'll get to the end of this game, but hopefully a little 9-day rest and some local games. Detroit's an easy flight, up to Portland's an easy bus trip, and then coming and getting some home games in will, maybe bring a little bit more of that spark, and they can, carry that intensity longer in some of these matches.
Right on. I'll kind of do it in reverse order for the second half for this one because the stats.
I'm intrigued to see what you even talk about. We're just going to the stats. Good. I was like, I don't even know what to talk about.
64% possession for Roots, 36 RAFC. We did outshoot them 7-3 with 4 on target. 0 big chances though in those 4 shots on target. 185 at 78% for Roots. 89 total passes for RAFC at 71. 8 fouls committed for us, 9 for them, 2 corners apiece. Just an absolute stagnant half. Really couldn't kind of get on the ball and string things together. Really didn't seem to want to get on the ball and string anything together. It was very much just kind of hold the compact shape, sit behind, let Oakland kind of dink it around because they weren't threatening anything at the goal. Just a very, I think, subdued half. And it was like, hey, we got our 3 goals. Oakland doesn't look like they're going to score. I think Oakland was like, I don't think we know how to score. And that's kind of how it played out for the second 45.
I mean, we could have played that match for another 200 minutes in Oakland. Like you said, I don't think they know how to score. They are, I think, by far the worst team in the league right now. And it's weird because I really think we actually, we've talked offline, and I'm very fine with them taking the foot off the gas and kind of almost holding someone at arm's length if need be, especially on the road, long travel, all that. But I think there's more to come. Like this game, I really thought if we had 1 extra midfielder on the pitch, we would have carved them alive. Like they just had nobody in there. And if we had Clay tucked in with, somebody else, I think there was more to come from this game. I really thought we should have ended this one 5-6-7-0. Like they just had absolutely no answer for anything. They looked defeated, and they again, I don't think we could have taken 2 men off, and I don't know if they would have scored. So it was just to me, like, not to get kind of fast forward this conversation, but I genuinely my only concern with this game was were we great or even good, or was Oakland just like really, really, really bad? And I think it's a mix of things, as it always is, but Oakland looks just very, very, very bad.
Right. We'll dive into that one a little bit deeper, but we'll start with some good, bad, and the ugly from everyone who wrote into us. So on Twitter, Kevin at Fluffy Quahog Boy had good starting lineup, better 3 points, best confidence. Our guy Archie at Dribble Trips had good Chico, better team chemistry, best back in playoff seed. That win did move us up to 8th in the table. Evan, aka the Outsider, aka RAFC fanboy, had good defense was smothering, better no cross FC, best showed respect for the crest. And then let's see what we got here. We got Mike Moniz on Facebook. Good getting a win, better getting a clean sheet, and best getting back the team we remember, at least for 10 minutes, I'd say.
It was a beautiful
Our friend William Lamb, who was at the game, had good, better strategy in defense, better 3 goals from Dequa, Holstead, and Williams, and best first win ending a month-long start slumber. Santiago Restrepo had good, the whole team, better Clay Holstead, best adjustments to the starting lineup and formation. A lot of people like seeing that those couple changes into the lineup, and I think it kind of put our best available 11 on the field for who we have right now. Andrew Quadros had good first victory of 2025 to better another Clay banger. It's been a while. Best the team's post-game vibes. Tyler D had good 3-0 better first win. Best seeing the lads in person next Tuesday. Pretty excited about that. There'll be a lot of us making the trip up to Portland. One of the greatest cities. Tyler Hatch had good 10 days off and gets to play in front of Defiance next. Better clinical finishing, best win number 1 in the books. Timmy Sclafani had good clean sheet on the road, better positive momentum heading into Portland/Open Cup matchup, and best new shape, got the best out of our players on the pitch, looking more comfortable. Nate Ski had good offense, better. Good was offense, better was win, best was donut. The boys will be eating donuts, I'm sure, probably tomorrow or Tuesday. We'll see on social media.
Do you think Kano's like nervous about which the first donut he goes to?
It's got to be Need.
I mean,
it's been his go-to.
We went through the donut wars last year. This podcast is officially a Need donut podcast, but I wonder what he's thinking.
You know, I know people will fight us in there. I know Kevin in the chat will be going that it's not Need, but I think overall, you know, we very much solidified ourselves on Need is the go-to.
Yes.
Tyrus had good 3 points, better 3 goals, best clean sheet. Our friend Leo O had good passing progression, improving between the position groups. I liked that one a lot. Better was pressure paying off like it should have against a team that's been weak at the back. And best collective defense, able to complete a clean sheet. Jim added good formation, better 3 goals, best clean sheet. Deezer added good, got a clean sheet, better 3 goals, best by 3 different scorers. And then we have our RAFC in 3 takes. William Land had they are back. Pawtucket J, fucking stoppage time. There was a lot of stoppage time added to the end of both halves, and that goes back to the
blowing
official
the damn whistle all the time.
Right? It was 6 minutes in the first half or whatever it was, and it was
yeah. That's when I started looking for Ubers, so it was good.
I think that's it took about 2.5 minutes for everyone to run to JJ after he broke through and got his goal. So we'll give it that. We had Deezer with finally a win. Jim had Bay Area Blitz. Leo had Coliseum course correction. Andrew Hill had first of many. Tim Sheldon had onward and upward. Andrew Gomes had stop hammer time and did it in gift form because MC Hammer hails from Oakland. Taris had about damn time. Nate Ski had Vegas, now Oakland, and that was a nod to talking about last year's first win versus this year's. Timmy Sclafani is all in, saying we're so back. Tyler Hatch said stop the bleeding. And then Tyler D had 10 lovely minutes. Andrew Hughes, I liked a lot. Time to exhale. I added one little twist to it, though. Put a little question mark there. Is it time to exhale, Ryan? We talked about how good, the goals were and how they came in that 10-minute span. But we also talked a lot about how bad this Roots team. Was this more of an indication that the tide is changing and this RAFC team is heading in the right direction? Or is this more of an indictment of Oakland Roots?
Ooh, so this is fun because that almost sounds like slides are coming. They are not. We're just gonna chat this one out. So listen, I was digging into this a bit because as some people are previewing it in the chat, I don't. Outside the 10 minutes, I don't think that was a great performance by RFC. Here we go. But listen, Oakland are dead last in expected goals per game in the league. They are. I think second to last in expected goals against or something like that. They're just a very, very bad team right now. Hopefully they figure it out. They have a lot of new pieces. They lost a lot of their attack, but I still think there were things like we should be able to not just beat that team, but control the match. Sitting back and letting them just control possession the entire second half. It's fine, but I think there's more to come. If I was going to do an RAFC in 3, I think it's build on this because I think this was definitely a step in the right direction, but there's definitely more to tweak. I'm still hell-bent on my back four idea from last week. I would love for us to try it because I just still am like, I don't know that people are in the places that will maximize their talent. I would love to see a Clay Holstead in the midfield so that Maxey can actually push up a bit more. I would love to see, a Noah and Quizera both playing just like true wingers without defensive responsibility. I really think there could be just more to unlock from this team and use the players that we have and maximize what they have versus just a system that has worked in the past, but it doesn't mean it's going to keep working moving forward. But at the end of the day, hey, 3 points is 3 points. Get them by any means necessary. Rest up. Let's kick Portland's ass. Let's kick Detroit's ass, and let's just get this rolling because I think we need to see this team continue to build and grow throughout the season like we did last time. And hey, you have to start somewhere. So.
Right on. I think, you said it post-match to me, and it was about the shape and adding in an extra midfielder, and we could have won that 5-0. If you just simply go back to the second half stats and the fact that we completed 89 passes against a team with no midfield, it's kind of concerning. And I think a lot of that goes to your point about getting Clay in the midfield. And you look at Timmy's comment here, I think that's a fair point. Shape last night still had Clay at right wing back. I agree. I don't like that. None of us do. It's a point where, Clay is probably our best, most versatile athlete on this team. And it's putting a square peg in a round hole again. And he's able to fill these gaps and fill these voids just because of his sheer athleticism. But you look at what he can do when he gets to the edge of the box. And if he's in there centrally, I think he's getting more and more chances to hit bangers from the end of the box. And then I think he's also able to really help link up play. You watch at the JJ goal, he kind of breaks one line through the defense and then hits it first time to JJ and sends him through. So if you have him breaking lines a little higher up the pitch, I think he's just improving service for everyone else, and he's really linking up the play. I will say I won't be all doom and gloom like you, but I think I think the passing
murdered in the chat right now, so it's fine.
No, I know. I think the passing was very much better in this one, and I think it went back to Leo's good, better, best take with the passing progression improving between the position groups. I think a lot of that with the defense getting the ball advanced to the midfield and beyond is because Clay's back there. If you don't have a player like Clay back there, there's not another good passer within that position group right now. Clay's going to be the best passer in whatever position group he's playing in my opinion. But I don't think we're going to have another defender come in, even when Clay slots into the midfield, that's going to, send someone through like he did with JJ coming out of the back of the line. That's just simply not going to happen with the personnel that we have. I think that when Clay's in the midfield, though, he's going to do more off the dribble. He's going to be able to break lines more. He's going to be able to play an aerial pass to JJ. And then, you can have Chico getting into Poach. You can have Clay late arriving. Noah gets opened up. So I think it opens up a lot of big things. But, I think the passing progression, like Leo said, was much better. And it seemed like it had much more intent this week than we've seen in the last couple of matches, which was really pleasing to see.
Yeah, I'm just very stuck on for what we have available. I think a back four with a Frank at right back, a Aldair at left back. Then you have your midfield of Maxey, Clay, and Ibarra or Haraval or Temu, kind of whoever is available in there. You got a Noah, JJ, Quizera up front. I just think it gives puts everyone in a place where they can utilize their abilities to the max. And I think on a night where you played a team that was just very I can't reiterate how bad Oakland was yesterday. Like, what a time to try something out in the second half. Which we did see, Frank go to right wing back. We saw some movement there, but I just think there was more that there's more to come from this team. And hey, a season's long, and you're going to see a lot of twists and turns throughout the season. So who knows? Maybe we will see something like this. Maybe we won't. I mean, last year we started with the back four. We moved to this back three. We'll see how it all turns out, but. I just would love to see, a Clay as like that more second midfielder with the Maxey as kind of the more attacking of a three midfielder system at some point this season. And hey, maybe we will. There's a lot of games to be played and a lot of games to win, hopefully.
Right on. We've got a lot of Rio Hope Gund up in the chat, and Matt Strick kicks it off with, aside from having the name of an Arsenal Academy product, seems like a nice guy. Timmy said Rio looked a bit shaky. I thought he last night, but I thought he looked pretty promising. That's a classic Timmy take to say he looked shaky.
That's a real 7 out of 10 take there.
But promising going forward. Interesting that he was the first sub. He came on in the 73rd minute for Clay, and that's when we saw him tuck in at center back, and we saw Frank go out to right wing back. Overall thoughts on him and his debut in the first 25-day contract for RAFC?
Listen, I'm gonna surprise a lot of you. At that point in the game, I was just yapping and having the time of my life at the Guild. I don't know if I can remember a single thing he did on the pitch. Graham, Matt's son, was telling me some unbelievable jokes, just chit-chatting with people. So I got absolutely nothing on Rio. They didn't score a goal while he was on there, so lovely job for the defender.
That's good. If you do see Graham at one of the next watch parties, ask him to do his hand joke for you. It's a classic. It's a banger like Clay's goal.
It is really good. I've been telling people it all day.
That's it. It's good stuff. So overall, very nice to get the 3 points.
Yes.
It took less than half the time it took last season to get the first one, just under. So good to get it in earlier than last year, and hopefully we can go on a run. This is a very weird time of the schedule, I guess you would call it, with I called it cup season today.
Mm-hmm.
We only have one other league match here in April, and that's versus Detroit. So it's just a weird little run of games and a weird little stretch of things going on in there. Obviously, next, people are pretty excited as we head up to Portland to take on the Hearts of Pine on Tuesday, April 15th in the Open Cup. The Saturday after that, we're in Detroit for USL Championship action. The Sunday after that, we're in Westchester for the Jägermeister Cup, and then we're at the home opener. So just a really interesting schedule vibe right now with this bye week, and we had the bye week to start the season. It almost feels like another weird international break.
Yep.
To Euro snob it up with that chat, but it's just it's got a weird feel to it. I think the Portland game is going to be absolutely amazing. I know there's a lot of people who plan on traveling. There's a lot of really high score predictions in there, and I don't buy it. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I think that team's playing with house money now. I think they've started building a really good organization. They're doing a lot of things right on and off the pitch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully the weather is pretty decent up there. It can be a little shaky this early in Maine, but we're going to have some of the Dorigo Union guys hop on the podcast within the next week to preview that one and give you guys some kind of pointers for things to do pre and post match up near Lewiston. I put a bunch in the D36 Discord as far as the city itself in Portland if you're staying over, but just a great city. I know you love it as well. Ted, not there, right?
Yep. Yeah, we got married up there. We love Portland. But no, I think the thing we've talked a bit about is it's really cool that we're going to watch 3 of the next 4 games that the team actually plays. This team is going to actually have Defiance there, cheering them on and pushing them. And, this is an extremely weird start to the season where you start with, 5-6 games on the road, or more than that now with how many cup games are all on the road too. But the fact that Defiance and all the supporters will be there, I think there's going to be huge turnouts at both Westchester and Portland. And, I think that's going to add a lot of spark to this team, and it's just going to be fun to see them again. I mean, we talk shit on this podcast all the time, and it's going to be just nice to see the boys again. And I think that's going to mean a lot to hopefully them, but I think also us.
Right on. Like Andrew says, next 3 games are 3 different competitions, 2 of which could knock us out of contention if we don't win. Yeah, it is pretty wild. If you look at, obviously the Open Cup is losing, you're out, but the Jägermeister Cup, you lose one in your group stage, and you pretty much have to hope you get in. You really got to win your group and do it convincingly and kind of sweep the group. But like you said, it's going to be pretty cool that 3 out of the next 4 games will be at I know all of us are going to Portland, all of us are going to Westchester, and then we're looking at that home.
Yeah, look out for the live podcast on the way home from Westchester. It's
way home, the way there.
That night in the backseat of Andrew's car.
Crashing out. I guess while we've got a couple minutes on here, how much rotation do you expect to see in this Portland game? I think that's a pretty interesting question. If you look at it, I think we may have learned a lesson from the Charlotte Independence game from last year, last season, crashing out a little early on in the cup. But I hope it's not as many as that, but I do hope we see a lot of regulars, in that, just because we also have a pretty good gap from, Tuesday to Saturday. So if you're able to kind of, rotate a few in and out, you got that 4 days in between. Be interesting to see how Kano balances this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think we're going to see a pretty rotated side. Lisa Sara, I could see definitely an Amo starting, a Joe Brito starting. Trying to think of who
I
else.
think Jackson gets the nod in net.
Yes, I think we'll see Jackson in there. Yeah, I think we'll see a rotated squad for sure. At the same time, like, we don't have that many available players right now, so it's not going to be. There's going to be plenty of starters who are starting this game, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see a lot of the regulars at least get a 45 to 30 minutes in there. So yeah, Matt Hands nailed it there. I don't think we have even the ability to rotate as much as we did last year if we wanted to. So yeah, more to come, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see basically everybody that we kind of normally see.
Right.
Yep.
I think Craig nailed it right there. Amos and Brito likely start. I think kind of these late subs that we've been seeing could be in the contention to start. And then if not, like you said, I could see more halftime changes in this one, and us go with a stronger starting 11 to kind of go from there.
Yeah, who I do hope starts is Zach Haribow. I would love to see him get a 60
full run.
Yeah, a 60-minute performance in to kind of get some of the rust off, get him back in the middle of the pitch. Don't play him at center back. Get him back in the middle of the pitch so that he can start to get some consistency in his legs. Hopefully, obviously you don't want to see a guy be suspended with a red card, but at the end of the day, he was clearly dealing with some injury. So hopefully he kind of can get past that. And, yeah, I want to see him playing again. I think he's a phenomenal midfielder for us. And the more that we can get from him, the better we'll be.
Right on. I think it's also a big stretch for Rio Hope Gund in the 25-day contract and getting in there, right? If he can come in these cup games and kind of solidify a little bit of depth, and we're able to advance in both of these competitions, then I think he could potentially earn himself a spot. I don't know if it'll be him or we continue to go out there and shop that position, but we definitely need some more depth in that, in that center back position room. We had
there's a certain somebody out there. If we sign him, we already have a blog ready. Don't worry, Timmy already did it. So
that's it. There's a few Kevin Vang shouts out there, but I think that would be more of a substitute appearance, if anything.
You know what? I'll put it. I think we see him.
I don't think we see him start. I think we see him.
I think he starts.
But to your point, I think we see Haribow, which I think inherently you see Brito and Amos, potentially paired up with him, or you see, one of the regulars like an Ibarra or Maxi get a start and then play a half and get subbed off from there.
I have a haunting question to ask you. Who plays right wing back in this game?
Koke? No, I don't know. I
part of me thinks that would kind of be funny. Is it Amos? Like, he's been subbing on there sometimes. Like,
right. I think it could be Frank. I think you could see Frank get some more time at right wing back, especially if Rio's playing center back to kind of test him out there.
Do we see Dewhurst start?
But from what we've seen, if they're bringing in somebody on a 25-day contact, you have to kind of figure out that the hope with Dewhurst is pretty low and the confidence with him is pretty low. So I don't know. You?
Yes, I do. I wouldn't be shocked if we kind of see the bench plus some starters, and then I think it's hard with these games. Like, the way you treat them is like, do you start strong and like fix it, or the way we did it last year, of you start with like your bench, then you try to fix it with starting players.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see it start strong and then chase it.
I think that is there's a lot of I think there's a lot of sense to that strategy, but I also think you gotta, if not now, when for these guys.
Right.
So I think we see a very as heavily we can rotate in 11. Again, I think there's maybe 5-6 players we really could even rotate at this point, maybe 7 with Jackson or Will Meyer. Like, again, Jackson's coming back from an injury, so more to come there. But yeah, I think we see a pretty heavily rotated team, which then we see a lot of the regulars kind of come in over the course of the second half.
That's a good question from Quadros. Do you think we'll see more heavy rotation in Portland or in Westchester?
Both. I think it's going to be, I wouldn't be shocked if the 11 you see in Portland is very, very, very similar to what you see in Westchester.
I could also see the regular starters that start in Portland being switched with the ones who will start in Westchester, and kind of giving different, rested different guys based on that.
Yeah, I mean, the issue really comes from like the Saturday to Tuesday versus like the Westchester ones on Sunday. So that's like almost like your normal weekly cadence.
Right.
So I wouldn't be shocked if actually Portland is a little bit more rotated, because you do have to be a little wary of, the fitness levels coming out of the Detroit game.
I'm kind of with Matt Jean. I think 8 of our starters will be in. Chico and Noah sub on the 60th. I like the starting strong. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I mean, I have to do like kind of write this out almost, but I don't know if 8 is the right, but yeah, I think it's at least. I think Keeper definitely. I think Rio definitely. I think Brito and Amos definitely, and then I think from there it's because I think like is Zach Harabaugh a starter? Also, like that's a question. Like, do you count him as that? I would count him as one, but you're going to see Temu in there. You're going to see probably Harabaugh in there. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of names that, because right now, right, we have probably 13, 14 guys who might be starters depending on the week. Sanchez is going to be playing. So it's all. I think a lot of this depends on what you call rotated as well.
Sure, true. But want to thank everyone who stuck with us through this one. Just a reminder, based on Ryan's statistics, 22% of you are not subscribed to the podcast. Make sure you hammer that subscribe button before you leave us. And if you're still here and
you live to me and you guys are all subscribed, then great. That's a big relief for me.
I half expected to get another Timmy Sclafani just subscribe to the channel right now, mid-episode. But if you've waited with us throughout this whole episode and you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like, just so it helps more people find it. Smash the like button, like it's Andrew Quadro says. What was that?
I said it's free. Just
it's
free. It's easy.
Free 99. That's it. But that'll wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click on that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.